Welcome to this edition of Platform. I am Muhammad Kuda Abubakar. The National Theatre and National Troupe hitherto had separate identities, even though their activities and mandates appear to complement each other. But now the two have been merged into one through the instrumentality of the National Theatre and the National Troupe of Nigeria Board Act. With a single board, both former separate entities are now under an artistic director and chief executive officer. As this edition of Platform discusses culture and the challenge of national development, we will examine the objectives of a single board for the National Theatre and National Troupe. Education, they say, can be learned through culture. How can knowledge of local technologies be used to create commercially viable programs and advance popular participation and peaceful coexistence? Our guest is the Artistic Director and Chief Executive Officer of the National Theatre and National Troupe, Comrade Ta Uko, also known as the Mambisa Man. He's an accomplished scholar, songwriter, choreographer, singer, dancer, costume designer, dramatist, producer, and director who has been performing on stage, radio, television, and film since 1979. Ta Uko is an artist of Tiv origin from Benue State of Nigeria. He has studied and worked in his country, that is Nigeria, Benin Republic, Togo, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Zimbabwe, Zambia, France, and the United Kingdom. Ta Uko, Artistic Director and Chief Executive Officer, National Theatre and National Troupe of Nigeria, welcome to Platform.
Thank you, comrade.
We will come to that and ask you why the comrade. But first, my panelists are here. Ayinde Shoga is NTA's Assistant Director of News.
Thank you for having me here.
Also here is Bridget Onoche, Arts and Culture Reporter of The Guardian.
Hello, viewers. I'm also happy to be here.
Once again, comrade, thank you for accepting to be on Platform. And congratulations for being Artistic Director and Chief Executive Officer of the National Theatre and the National Troupe.
Thank you, Auntie.
One distinguishing feature of you when anybody meets you the first time is the way you dress, the way you look, the way you walk, and the way you carry that your stick, almost like a Fulani man. Tell us about it. Educate us.
Well, the aesthetic of semblance is an African personality. You should be able to see me anywhere in the world and know that this is an African. Not flaunting his Africanness, but just living his life normal. It is the normal. So I dress like a Tiv elder sometime, and in some other areas where I travel, as I travel, I acculturate ethnic costumes of different African peoples. And I enjoy wearing these costumes to exhibit and display to the outer world that there's something good in the diversity of Africa.
Now let's go to the specifics. The heart, where did you get it from?
The heart is actually a tribute to one woman I adore so much. I'm sure you remember, for our generation, the great Miriam Makeba, Mama Africa.
Indeed.
This is her heart. And she's been my greatest influence in understanding African culture and how it affects people, particularly women. And in my cultural work for the past 45 years, I have a bias towards gender particularity with women. I think anyone that can master the heart of women and enter the mind of the woman and use the heart of a woman can change any society. So it's a tribute to my great, how would I say, mentor. And my big auntie, Mama Africa, Miriam Makeba, whose music has also tutored me. And if you saw Makeba on stage while she was alive, and you see me performing on stage, nothing will make you wonder. You just say, he behaves like Mama Africa. He sings like Makeba. He plays like Makeba. And that means in my Tiv cultural expression, women are a great influence in our cultural lives. And we pay homage to women. Whenever we do things in culture, Your mentor is the person you pay homage to. You get her spirit to keep guiding you. So it's the spirit of women that's always pushing me to do things that are productive. And usually, the women do everything to support me.
Did
Oh
you
my
ever meet Makeba before she died?
Yes, of course.
Then, the aspect of...
My Fulani stick.
yeah, exactly.
Well, for the Fulani people, remember that the Tiv and Fulani are cousins. We are all migrants. They from the east, from Yemen across to Djibouti, to Somalia, to Ethiopia, the Habasha region, right up to Senegal and back. The Tiv are Cushitic Bantu who migrated from the ancient Kushite civilization of Meroe in southern Egypt, traversed the Luba-Luda kingdoms, the Great Lakes region, Uganda, Rwanda, okay, right up to Ethiopia, down to Kenya, and now back to South Africa. And the last Nguni migrations, you call Mfekane. Mfekane was the last time the Tiv left that area and came up through the Congo to what you call today the Benue Valley. In fact, the name Congo is Ichongo. The first son of Tiv was called Ichongo. So they settled in that area of today's Zaire. You call that place Zaire. Zaire is just a descriptive word of a river that is deep, Zaire. That is, it is very deep, and if you look inside, you can't see the bottom. So the Tiv are not actually Tiv. There's no language called Tiv. We are Uzulu. But in coming to Nigeria, to avoid early persecution, being migrants into Nigeria and being warriors, we were told, don't tell people you are Zulu. They say, oh, those warriors. Say you are Omba Tiv, children of the Tiv. Children of Tiv is like saying, Yaron Shuaga. Shuaga son, Omo Shuaga. Like Ainde here. Say, who are you? Say, Omo Shuaga Nimi.
So if you are the children of the Tiv, or
So our
Omba
language,
Tiv,
therefore.
who is Tiv?
Tiv was the great, like the Yoruba, you have Odudua. The Yoruba are not called Odudua as a language. Odudua cannot be a language. So Tiv had a father. His father was called Utakuruku. And the father of Utakuruku was called Unyamazinga. So Unyamazinga spoke a language, and that language was Uzulu. So till today, we have contact, ancestral contacts with the Zulu people in dances. In our Kwahi, that's the mass theater masquerade theater. The traditional theater of the Tiv is called Kwahi. In the entire Southern Africa, it's called Makishi.
But the Zulu still has the cow as a symbol, and they use that even as their dowry when they marry.
We do the same.
But you, the Tivs, don't.
No, we have the Zebu cattle. That's the thing. The Tiv migrate with their cattle, but they're farmers. They are not nomads. They are farmers who are sedentary, and they always settle in river valleys, from the Limpopo up to Zambezi to Ichongo, today's Congo, and the Benue.
Now
So that's the short
let's
history.
come back. Let's really come to the 21st century. You are also known as the Mambisa man. What is the philosophy behind the Mambisa man, and how can we use it
Mambisa.
to really, if you like, expose culture and make culture to be used as a platform for national development?
As a young man, I traveled a lot in Africa, trying to understand aboriginal cultures of African people, native cultures, and taking pride in understanding our history. Coming from the background of slave trade that dehumanized African people and made them lose self-respect. The Mambi is a Kiswahili word, and it's a Tiv word. It's a Zulu word of warrior who defends his people's heritage. So Mambi is the masculine form of a warrior who defends his people's way of life. The Mambisa is the feminine form. And for the sake of brevity, instead of saying Mambi, Mambisa, I say Mambisa. In Tiv language, it means Mambisa, this knowledge, this heritage, this legacy would have been lost but for this man, but for this child who says, it shall not be lost. So Mambisa Kiane, that's Kia means the heritage, legacy. So I hold that in trust for my people and other Africans who understand where they're coming from. In Cuba, any general of African origin in Cuba is called Mambi. Instead of General Kutu Abubakar, you are called Mambi Kutu Abubakar. And the lady is called Mambisa. So it's a generic term for men of valor. In Yoruba, you say Omoluabi.
Talking about losses, I think that Africans have lost so much about our culture.
Yes.
Particularly beginning with education. Education, the Western education was done in a way that we're hoping to become, speak English. And we are losing our languages. Many people don't speak our languages again. Our languages are dying. And also, what we are looking forward to is to become a civil service job or get employment, be employed in the bureaucracy. What are we doing to bring back some of this? What are you doing since you became the director?
Artistic director.
Well, it's not what am I doing now. What have I been doing?
Yes, yes.
I've been living, eating, sleeping culture. I'm sure from the time you knew me to today, what you find is an ethos of an intellectual, a scholar, a persistent, persevering Pan-Africanist who is conscious of his role in telling the history of his people. I call other pseudo-intellectualism lamentongologists. The lamentongologist is the one who said, why you Allah, we have lost this. Oh, this is happening. Oh, this is happening. That's not our purview. What are we doing to change things? You have to, it's like change starts with you. The Buhari administration's...
Change begins with me.
Change begins with me. So if I say I'm preaching culture, I like to eat ogbono soup, and every time you see me, I'm eating spaghetti or some other form of stuff from another clime and taking my foreign exchange to that clime, how can you persuade people when physician is not healing himself? Even in the Bible, it says, physician, heal thyself. I've healed myself, and if I have healed myself, am I happy with the confusion around me? Am I happy with the disorientation around me? So, getting a place in, I say, Comrade Buhari, our comrade president. That's my idea of a president. The idea of somebody who says, I'm taking my people across River Jordan, across the mountains, to this place with a vision. That's your comrade. So if I see a comrade like that and he says, come serve your country, why will I keep traveling around the world trying to explain Africa? I can now explain Africa from a Nigerian platform. I can now use African children, Nigerian children, men and women, to imbue in them the same spirit of Mambi, the same spirit of Mambisa, to say, you can be who you want to be. Tell the world who you are. No one will define you. In your dress, Oibo man where they wear suits. Does he tell us whether it is Japan or from America or from England or from France?
International.
It's multinational. It expresses the European aesthetic. So why should I explain myself as an African? Why I'm dressing like an African? I do get that all the time from, of course, confused Africans who wonder, where are you from? Are you dressed like this? And I say, well, you are. I have another thing to explain here. So I'm a teacher. I'm an explainer. And my job with the National Theatre, National Troupe, is therefore to reinvent the focus, the platform of speaking to the world through cultural bridges, education through culture. We must educate ourselves first. Who are we as Nigerians? Then who are we as Africans? And who are we to the world? It is we who must tell the world who we are. The clothes we wear, our industry, our dances, our music, the aesthetics we want to generate in a responsible way. How do we relate to our women? What is the African perspective in terms of child upbringing? Education of the family space. Our attitude to womanhood. Do we give women equal rights as men? What are those things we do that retard the progress of Africa? Are we gender sensitive? Are we still patriarchal to the point where half of our population being women and youths, we deprive them of that active participation in the economic, political, and cultural space? Those things that engender backwardness. What are we doing through culture to develop this? That's my challenge.
Technology has made the world a global village. It's now as if we are just one people, everybody speaking one language, English, particularly for us here. And the way we dress, the way we eat, everything has become globalized. The world has become globalized. What's your challenge with that?
Well, let me speak from not just the theoretical aesthetic, or from the...
And related to that is the fact that over the years that I have known you, I know you have used the platforms of the radio, television, film to advocate all your thoughts and cultural knowledge. How do you bring the social media into the mix now?
Well, first, right now, thanks to NTA, and of course, with the direction, a supervisory direction that I find very progressive and acceptable to helping us develop. Our minister, Comrade Lai Mohammed, the Minister of Information and Culture, his own admonition is, listen guys, you're a good team. You are the best I can get. But work together, synergize, so that there is a common purpose for what we are doing. So don't do culture separate from information. Mambisa, you are in theater and music and culture. Why don't you work also with someone in television, with someone in this, in CBAC, in whatever area you agencies can collaborate that will help us develop. Now, NTA is my formation. NTA made me into an international star, and I thank NTA for that exposure. But I owe it to those who come after me to take them to the source where I got that orientation. So right now, the National Theatre and National Troupe, the liaison office here in Abuja, we have about 30 staff members. They've been here for the past 8 years. But it is to now reorientate them towards a new technology. Your culture is not sitting to dance and sing. Your culture is understanding where technology is going, where it's taking the world. So give them the access to social media as a new form of communication. The platform of international discourse. You say social media. You say the world is a global village, but we have to be careful with pseudo-scholarship. The world is a global village if you are a player in the village. If you are a spectator outside the stadium, you ain't playing, comrade. You are regurgitating what the West gives to you. So we are not going to be players just clapping for footballers in the stadium. We will be in the stadium and will be the first team playing against any other team in the world. Therefore, get our children. I say our children because we must look at it from an Africanist perspective of culture. Our anthropology of family, anthropology of society is that we go as a collective, as a unit. So for me, the young Nigerian child must be influenced by a technology knowledge-based, technologically capable person. So NTA is going to train my staff here for the next 3 months. And we are hoping...
They are training already.
They are training right now. And that synergy of working with NTA is what I would like to encourage to my other comrades in other, not just in information and culture, but to see our space in government as changing things through our direct intervention to make Nigeria a better place, to forge unity of a scientifically minded youth that can see culture as a platform to rebuild the country and speak to the world.
So I have listened to you go through this historical trip, and I must tell you, I was very, very pleased. But I want to ask, how much of this history is documented for future generations? Then let me take you to National Troop. Yeah, during introduction, you were introduced as a choreographer, you are a stage performer, so you've been in the art. How much of all this do we expect in your present capacity to further bring a national troop in particular to limelight? I said this, you know, of the background of, you know, considering the fact that for some time, national troop has remained silent. You know, it's so vibrant that it shouldn't be that silent. You know, we in the art community are worried. What is happening to National Theatre and National Troupe in particular?
Well, you know, in speaking the truth to Nigerians, I'm a comrade who shoots straight. I don't muck about. I call a spade a spade. The National Troupe now does not exist in reality. It's collapsed because we lost the direction. You see, when you don't have a compass, you get mystified and become confused. I'm a founder of the National Troupe with the late Papa Ogunde, Hubert Ogunde, during Babangida's regime. 88 to 90, we set up the National Troupe. I was seconded. I was then head of station of NTA Uyo when Akwa Ibom State was created. I was taken from there at the request of Papa Ogunde, who saw me on television performing and said, this is someone who can be my successor, and requested for me to be seconded to work with him. I was very pleased and honored because Papa Ogunde was the best in theatrical tradition in Nigeria and Africa. So here is me, a young choreographer, a young performer, having access to the best in the world from my country. So 2 years of auditioning round Nigeria, Papa Ogunde did that. And we never had the opportunity, actually, of going abroad with Papa Ogunde because shortly after our first major intervention culturally, there was a film called Mr. Johnson, shot by some Hollywood producers and directors from Brazil, Hollywood, and England. They came together in a village called Toro. We created a colonial village in the forest and shot the film Mr. Johnson. Sadly, Papa Ogunde never survived the cold of that year in that terrain. It was so harsh, and being an old man, it got to him, and he died shortly after. And it was now necessary to take the troop out on the first works, as it were. The troop went out, but the
Under
challenge...
your guidance or who?
No, I didn't stay any longer. I left. I left television to go and practice as a musician. At that time, I was quite famous on television, but I was not making money. And I wanted to make money as an artist. And I wanted the world to see my art. The rest is history. Today, I still perform as an international artist, but with a typical, persistent, unabashedly African perspective. I market Africa. I eat Africa. I breathe Africa. The National Troupe. Why did National Troupe collapse? We did not envisage a national troupe of some specialists placed in Lagos. Ogunde's dream and my dream in 1988, 89, 90 was to have a national theater as the holding place of the cultural expression of Nigerians and receiving visitors into Nigeria. Then the National Troupe of Nigeria as the flagship that will go out and showcase our cultures to the world. But then, when they come back home, they still feed back into the arteries. That's the local governments, the ethnic nationalities. Because really, if you want an Atilogu dancer, the best Atilogu dancer it comes from the southeast, among the Igbo. And you go to a place like Ezeagu in Enugu State, you go to Amansiodo, Oye. Those are the areas where you see magicians that can somersault and create pyramids. These people start to dance from the age of 3. Why would you bring a Nigerian child at the age, a Nigerian youth at 17, and want him to pirouette and break his legs, struggling to dance struggling to understand acrobatics at an age when his bones are already dry, they are formed. It's like ballet. I'm a dancer. I started dancing at the age of 3. There's a thief dance you call the mermaid dance. It's danced by women. It's danced by men. But it simulates the mermaid, the beauty of the woman. But it's never danced by women. The women only hold the mirror.
Is it the one that you do that?
Yes, with the contortions of the body. You start at the age of 3. The thief, my people, have the largest body of dance in Africa. They have about 1,500 dances. So if you are not thief and you sit in Lagos, how are you going to understand 1,500 dances? So the idea was, if you are going to Europe, Asia, Africa, other parts of the world to showcase Nigeria's diversity, you pick from different ethnic nationalities, put them together, groom them, they become your national troupe. And we didn't do that, so we lost the essence of how to replenish, as usual with Nigeria. No orientation, just fiction. These quick fixes, no preparations. So we kept taking people out, just like football. I always use football as a corollary to explain this decay and deterioration and final disintegration of the troupe. Because as the best dancers go out, the West snatches them. They go as choreographers. I train in the West. I do shows in the West. I know how much we are paid. So when you pay a choreographer that amount to do just a sequence, even in a film set, he or she doesn't want to come back to Nigeria. So in course of the years, people left. And sometimes Nigerians have this bad habit when artists go out, not just artists, even when they go on pilgrimages, people abscond and create problems for the country. So we have migration image, and gradually countries, especially the West, stopped accepting us to come dance in their countries of cultural productions. That means we didn't have visa access any longer. However, that is not the challenge. What am I doing today?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And,
like a homecoming.
and before you get to that, let me just put this to you, that one of the mandates you have is to discover young talents who have the talent and whom you can encourage in the performing arts.
Yes.
So where are we?
Where are we today? First, I met a dilapidated infrastructure, the National Theatre. No water, no electricity, people having workers, casual workers not paid. I had to reinvent the whole space. And what did I do? I involved workers. I think some people must come and study my method. I got the workers. I'm a veteran trade unionist, and I called my comrades. Make up your minds, comrade. It's not just Buhari who will change Nigeria. You got to change Nigeria. This is your legacy. This is your inheritance. Your Baba Buhari will not come here and change it for you. If you want it to die, oh-ho. But we are sent here to help you to own it. So I said, I'm setting up worker committees. It's a revolutionary concept, but agreeable. Some didn't like it, but I'm insisting, it's working now. I say, you union people, come. I used to be your union leader. I'm your papa. So I will help you reorganize this place. If you don't help me to succeed, I will do demonstrations against you union people. I will hold placard. They will see the first DG or the first artistic director demonstrating against his workers for being unproductive. So give me production, I'll give you access to welfare. I will look after you. So we made a deal. We'll repair this place with you as participants. They are Nigerians. They are not Cameroonians.
So what stake did you give them?
We set up committees. It starts stopping the administration from functioning. Technical Rapid Response Committee, internally generated revenue rebasing committee, environmental sanitation, and security committee. Because if the place is not secure, who would want to come there? Anti-corruption committee, and what did I do? I asked the comrades. I call them my comrades. You select yourself, those who will police yourselves. Men, don't vote women, because some of you may have some secret friends, and if women do something bad, you don't agree, punish them. You women, don't vote in the men. Because I know waiting they happen. No, if man do something and you woman say I like this person, you no go and punish her. So we elected the workers themselves, elected their own anti-corruption committee. Today, those are the fighters. Those are the new generation of comrades that I'm using to re-sanitize that place. We've cleared 6 months' salaries. Now there is light. We inherited so much debt. There is water now running, and I can now have the time to come to Abuja now and help resuscitate the geopolitical zonal centers. We have 6 zonal centers. Jos is for North Central Zone. Kano is for Northwest. Jalingo is for Northeast. Abuja is a liaison office on its own. Calabar is for South-South. Enugu for Southeast. Abeokuta for the Southwest. Then Lagos as the headquarters. All these are moribund. I've revived them now. And what am I doing? First, empowerment. Happily, at the establishment level, I've been directed to set up the Planning, Research, and Statistics Department. That's the engine room of production today in an organization. Without research, without documentation, how many dances do we have in Niger? What are the festivals for aquatic festivals? Where are the other festivals? How many wrestling festivals do we have in Nigeria? What are the dances in one state, in one ethnic nationality? We must have these properly documented. So what are the musical instruments? Wind instruments. So what we are doing now is to start from basics. I'm starting from, as I'm just coming from the site of a story building
going
that
back
collapsed.
to 1988.
Thank you. I'm going back. I told my comrades, I'm Jonah. You don't read Bible? So the Christians say yes. I am the Jonah, swallowed by the fish and dumped on the shore of Nineveh. Jonah was told by God, go and repair Nineveh. He said, who am I? I don't want to go there, and took his boat to run away, and a big shark swallowed him. So, oh my God, my own don't finish. And the shark swallowed him. The big fish brought him
back.
And threw him back again on the seashore, on the shore of that
Nineveh.
land. When he woke up, where am I? He said, Nineveh. Oh my God. So it means I can't run away from my fate. Here is me, 26 years later, going back to repair what we said should be done and was not done. So now, the decree 47 of 1991 set up the National Theatre and the National Troupe under one board. Remember, that was the military era. So after Ogunde, the attempts to unify them didn't quite gel until in President Buhari's time now, with Oronsaye's reforms of 2014, the president has now implemented the recommendations of Oronsaye report of 2014. Merge National Theatre, National Troupe, let the board run it, and the president says, Comrade Uko, go and be our new artistic director, merge these 2 places, and see how you give us something formidable. So I'm starting from a collapsed building that I have to remove the rubbish, and I have to start from the top. But intellectually, therefore, I'm becoming the person who must see the future. So my staff must first have the rudiment of technological acquisition. We are no longer in the days of dancing, bangudugum, bangudugum, bangudum. We must now develop a scientific-minded cultural worker.
So what should we be expecting now? Now that you are rebuilding and repositioning, kind of making it up again. So when will we start to see the results?
A new national troupe
of what you're
a new
doing?
national theatre.
When
A
we
new
start to see
philosophy.
performances.
Comrades, a new
Performances,
philosophy.
yes.
Even exporting dances.
We are going
and
back to the local governments. You see, why is there a crisis today among our youths in Nigeria? No social inclusion. Our leaders stick too much to politics. They forget that all political expressions finally find their nexus in culture. I'm a student of the late Guinean revolutionary, Comrade Amilcar Cabral. And he taught us that culture is returned to the source. If you don't put food on the tables of your people, that is nonsense. You see me wear my beautiful robes, it costs a lot of money. And it feeds the rural economies. They are woven clothes. As my own commitment, I like Mahatma Gandhi, the way he developed Indian cotton and stopped the export of cotton to Manchester. You know, Indian cotton was called Manchester cotton. And reading people like Gandhi, growing up as
just like our leather.
Leather technology, Pasa, for instance. You know the Nupe, incidentally, are the ones who took the art of cloth weaving to the Yoruba. Nupe warriors. That's why they call it Asho Oke. Cloth from the north.
From the north.
Asho meaning cloth. So if you go today to Nupe land, you see the Akpasa, Eshanu, and you see refinement in cloth weaving, in textile technology. Those are the things we are going to be doing. And how, when will it be? It will be when we are able to go back to the grassroots. We are now going to have cultural programs to fulfill the mandate of what the National Theatre and National Troupe will be doing as one body. First, we are going to create jobs for cultural workers at the grassroots level. Otherwise, the cultures will not grow. How can you, a choreographer or a dancer in Lagos, staying at the National Theatre, know Bolawa dance of in Fika,
Present
in Yobe? How can you know Kanuri dance? How can you know 2,000 dances? The dancer is an athlete. Soon he wears thin or she wears thin. And how for vigorous dancing like a footballer, after 2, 3, 4 years, we must replace you. So to make it, to have longevity in cultural cornucopia, a rich array of cultures, we want the Nupe develop yours, Igbira develop yours, Idoma, Marigi, Kanuri, Yoruba, Egun, Yewa, Yagba. You go to Kalabari, go to the Efek, take their cultural troops, put them together, send one group to Egypt, another to London, another to Tokyo in one season. I call them cultural locusts that must conquer the world for us. Cultural locusts. Go and bring me in the dollars to develop your rural areas. So when one mama from Ijebu, they dances Bata music, and you send her to London, and she comes back home to the village, her little money will be what you call backward integration. She'll use it to buy one grinding machine for her Ijebu gari. She'll use it to send her child to school. So culture should be owned by people, not the elite.
But how do you fund the trips? Because your predecessor...
How do we fund it? Okay. If the people own it, why would they not fund it? For instance, I'm going to be taking kings, traditional rulers. Oni of Ife is a great enthusiast of culture.
Yeah.
Alaafin of Oyo, Etunupe,
Exactly.
Emir of Kano, even Sultan of Sokoto. If you say go show to the world during Salah, the
Durbar.
the Durbar. Do you know there can be Durbar dances? The paraphernalia. We can create it with the Tiv Kwahi. You don't have to carry horses there. The Chinese do that. And the difference is that when we want to develop cultural expressions, we allow each ethnic group develop their culture. So no one will say, oh, we are marginalized. They don't include us. So tolerance will be made when we get our youths to work together and understand the beauty of each person's aesthetic expression.
What all this means is efficient management of
Yes.
the National Troupe
Yes.
and the National Theatre
Yes.
in a commercialized entity.
Thank you. Now business.
And there's supposed to be a National Theatre Fund and a National Troupe Fund. Where are we on that?
Well, like I said, before my arrival, everything went bonkers. The whole place went bananas. Now, I got to start from somewhere. First, to make sure that across the country, people get ICT knowledge, social media compliance. We started training in Jos, North Central. We are now in Abuja. And thanks to NTA and my comrade Yakubu Mohammed, Remember, we are all NTA products from Jos.
That's the Director General of
The
NTA.
DG of NTA. So we are die-hard Nigerian progressives. And the thing is, get all these young people to see that they need each other. So nobody again, after I leave the troupe or the theater, will say, oh, my tribe no get expression here. You develop yourself. We'll go to your king. We are going to have royal troops. We are going to have women troops. Women. If we pay attention to our women troops, that's our cash cow. If I take Leboku dancers, take Swange girls, take Koroso women, not men, just send them to the world. There's a beautiful Owo group in our Ondo state, the Benin Royal Troop. Take these troops that are women, gender on its own, send them out. And this time around, we're not going to anybody's country to sing and dance alone. As we are going to say Japan, we go with an economic team. Ministry of Agriculture, give us your economic products, agricultural products. I call it economic diplomacy in culture. Solid minerals, give us solid minerals. We put up a business roundtable. From here, we meet the embassy, discuss with them. They bring in whoever is from their own country's Chamber of Commerce. We talk business. When we now reach your country, before the troop arrives, we are already talking business, a business roundtable. Who will come and exploit our mineral resources with us? Who will come and look at our agriculture? Then cultural productions. So by the time we do this, and we are going with tailors. If you like my dress, you see Ashoke, Ange, Luru, Basa, Banka, all this traditional clothing. If you say you want this as a diasporan, as an African, imagine Brazil, or you go to Trinidad and Tobago during the emancipation period. We go with ordinary tailors from the villages who know how to sew machines. As we are dancing, they point and kill like you do for fish in fish pond. Say, I like this and this cap. This one for you. We come back with dollars. That's culture.
Comrade Uko.
Yes, sir.
I know you somehow, and I've listened to some of these things you're talking about. When will we start seeing the manifestation?
Nigerians,
You have been appointed now for quite some time.
They come, you Nigerians. And I'm using this platform to say, I'll behave like Baba Buhari. I will close my eyes to when is it going to happen? It is happening now. You are part of it. First, unugode wear Nigerian clothes. Don't wear suit and come and talk to me about when are we going to see so. Uno pass my test. I was hoping that one of you would be in suit. I will say, this new payment, Basa, go to your place, promote Basa, wear Nigerian clothes. I must first build the dancing groups. Like I said, if I ask, see, Oba of Benin now to give me a royal troop to travel abroad, there's a senator from that place, no be so? House of Rep member, chairman, and it's a Benin. Why would I tell a Benin prince or a Benin senator to sponsor his sisters and brothers to go and represent Nigeria? And he says no. I go left you. I go Asaba. Tell Asaba people.
Asaba.
So whoever gives me the troop to take out, those are the people interested in promoting their culture. So it can be self-financing. Culture all over the world is self-financing. After 2 years, I don't need government subvention.
When
just maintain the national
we
troop.
Start to see the manifestation? When will we start to do that now?
I am speaking in Proverbs.
And that's also involved.
I'm speaking in Proverbs. You, my sisters, women, talk of you women. Umuadas.
I know.
From
Anyocha.
Nde Anocha. All those beautiful women dances. You will help me go to the village.
Of course.
I'll follow you. You see your age grade, and you tell them, this is not the man where they help develop dance for Nigeria. He won't carry on and go Obodo Ibo. Make you begin practice.
Yeah, I'm told one of your mandates, in addition to several of them, is that you should produce geared towards national aspirations. Now, in this current political dispensation, we have challenges like hate speeches, we have terrorism, we have the need to diversify the economy. How can we use the national troop and the national theater to achieve these objectives?
In between, we have milestones. Like I said, the first is capacity building, which is what I'm doing now around the country. I must build capacity. Secondly, having built capacity of cultural workers who are scientifically minded, who are intellectually imbued, you can now move to the next level. Involve the ordinary persons. Like I said, the National Theatre is there. Whatever we can do with government assistance and private sector participation, not private sector buyout of our theatre, not owning our theatre, but contributing to develop that national asset so that we can function well. We want to have seasonal exhibitions at the National Theatre.
Okay.
We have, in a year, we should be able to have zones. There are 6 geopolitical zones. Each zone can, twice in a year, come and showcase your cultural wares, food culture, a taste of your state, a food festival, a drinks festival. So all this is geared towards making sure that all Nigerians participating in the process of change and development feel that place belongs to them. And this drops off on our children. We expect the traditional institutions to play a pivotal role in this area. Hate speech. What's hate speech? In the movie industry, we can insist that stereotypes that denigrate. Some people are given the role of perpetual megguards, security men at the gates of supposed elite groups, and they are given ethnic colorations. Some are used as house helps and are given ethnic colorations. Those prejudices and profiling is part of physical hate speech. Profiling people, making them look small because you think you are superior, is hate speech. It is our own example that our children will follow. If we now send more Nigerians outside to represent Nigeria, anybody that I send out to go and represent Nigeria is the national troop of Nigeria. They are not national troop of Ghana or Cameroon. So if you find out from your little village you are given opportunity of going out to represent Nigeria, you now feel, I own this cultural space. Then our children, and charity starts from home. I want to see an Atilogu dance troupe of youths in Sokoto during Durbar entertaining. I want to see a Koroso group in Bayelsa entertaining. During wrestling, you know, wrestling produces a lot of psychologists. Traditional psychologists are the drummers. Let's develop those dances, those songs, occupational songs, cultural festivals. Getting is what we do that we change our youths. Don't transfer anything to the youths. I will not. It's me and you and the leaders in power that own the space and culture the children towards hate speech. My mama say, "Una be so. My papa been they say these people are so. No child develops hate speech, but what they hear the parents say. And of course, like I said, in a platform I had opportunity to say something, we will develop cultures with respect. Look at how I'm dressed. Among my people, it's elegance. The women will, oh, Mambisa, you don't kill us. But for another ethnic Nigerian, oh, this man just carry wrapper, put for shoulder. You see, that's tolerance. Because in your place, you think you are superb. In my place, I'm wonderful. So, how do we now respect each other? How do we promote these integrative values? In our educational system, we intend to have boot camps. Our youths will go from during holidays, we get youths to visit different states. And we train them in dance, in music, folklore. A traditional children's theater is part of the mandate of National Troop.
Okay.
And we are supposed to produce the best of Nigerian cultures. You don't produce that sitting in Lagos. You produce that going to that village, that remote village where nobody goes to. My artists will go to villages, those who are in National Troop, will go to the villages and learn dances in villages.
And in this situation, what was going to be the linkage between the National Theatre and National Troop and the schools? Because I know in those days when we were in secondary school, there are cultural troops, cultural groups, cultural societies. Are you going to have some linkage with
Yes,
the youth
because we
in the
have,
secondary school?
our mandate is to develop children's theater. We're adding not just children's theater now, but women troops.
Okay.
Women troops, like I said, for me, it's at the center of holding the family. For 40 years, I've walked all over Africa, and it's in villages with women and youths. That's where the culture resides. Because if you are going to showcase Nigerian culture, there's nothing called Nigerian culture. There are Nigerian cultures. This idea of a melting pot is nonsense. It's chauvinism. That's what creates this ethnic oppression. And people want to say, oh, now, oh, no good, reach our own. We want everybody, is a salad theory I'm preaching. Everybody bring your salad. Bring your onions, bring your cabbage, your lettuce, tomato. Each has its own aroma. It's eating them together that makes salad. It's so wonderful.
Exactly.
So it's a cultural salad.
The Mombisa man, Artistic Director, Chief Executive Officer of the National Theatre and National Troupe. Thank you so much.
Thank you, comrades.
For coming on platform.
Thank you. Thank you.
And of course, my colleagues here, Ayinde Shoga, NTA's Assistant Director of News. Thank you so much for your thoughts.
Thank you.
And Bridget Onoche, Arts and Culture Reporter, The Guardian.
Thank
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And just one more thing. Soon we are going on audition. We are going around the country auditioning for singers, dancers, but we are not going to take anybody to Lagos.
Thank you so much,
you stay in your
Mombisa
village.
man. Thank you so much. And you've had him there. The Mombisa man, Ta Uko, who is currently the Artistic Director and Chief Executive Officer of Nigeria's National Theatre and National Troupe, has on this edition of Platform given us an update and ideas about his agenda to uplift to greater heights the nation's National Theatre and National Troupe. That's Platform. I'm Muhammad Kuda Abubakar. Bye for now.